I would trust anything. I wouldn't trust an AI like that yet, but I bet you probably could. You probably could jailbreak one because I saw. Actually, I don't think I covered this yet with you. I don't know if you saw it or not, but people were and they have been like jailbreaking, like ChatGPT and Gemini, and unfortunately, they were jailbreaking it to the point where they were asking it for like very, very, let's say, delicate things like bioweapons, and it was actually telling them how to make things. And so they had to shut some things down and go back in because essentially they figured out like how to ask it whenever it would not want to give the information or was programmed not to. They asked it to alert them with like a keyword and then tell them the AI's response. So it would say like warning and then say what it said, right? And so that's how they knew each time it was like actually protecting what it should say. And so they just basically kept prodding it over and over until it then like revealed itself. And it's like, holy cow. Like how many I wonder like top secret things are actually out there that it could actually pull and get a hold of.
Man, I don't need to know about bioweapons. I'm just trying to grow my hair back. So, I mean, if AI can come up with whatever that formula is, then, put me in, coach. I'm ready to play.
We're probably not too far away.
I've thought that for the last couple decades.
Yeah, I'd say we're not too far away, right? Like, just they make you a special peptide. You just like inject it in your cranium a few times a week.
So far, the closest thing we have are Turkish doctors there and the miracles that they work over there. That's the closest technology that we have.
If you're open to it, I have an affiliate account. I'd love you to subscribe to some supplements. Here's the first month's only $55. After that, you drop down to $40. And here's the thing, if you refer 3 friends, it actually becomes even cheaper. And I promise you, hair will grow. Don't know where, though.
I don't need it showing up any more weird places. No, thank you.
Welcome to another unedited edition of Run the Block, brought to you by the Live Rich Project. Promise no more AI talk, no more senseless silliness from Michael or I today. We're actually going to break down a topic near and dear to both our hearts, and actually part of the reason why we even well, I don't want to say we still are doing this, but it's one of the things that we really fundamentally believe is a game changer for most business owners once they understand and utilize it. And it's a simple reason that especially coming from the health and wellness industry, right? We periodize fitness, we periodize health and nutrition. And you and I for a long time have been like, that's probably how you should run your business, because not only does your business have ebbs and flows, but also your life. And if you're a solopreneur or a small business entrepreneur, there's going to be seasons where you've got to overlap those two things, because if you are a family man, family woman, and you have events coming up, you've got to know all those ins and outs. And so business periodization is something that, you and I have really been trying to press forward into our industry, and now throughout anyone that's listening to this or that wants to join the Live Rich Project, on how to actually fulfill that destiny to steal from Ra's al Ghul and Batman.
If you're going to steal from the best.
Yeah, why not? But I don't want to give away too much. I'd rather just kind of get into it, because you actually have a breakdown, and we did come fully prepared today, folks, with a PowerPoint presentation and everything. So, the two guys that talk about not knowing tech came prepared today, and hats off to Michael. He's the one that's fully prepared. I'm like 70% prepared. So I'm just going to turn it over to you, dude, and let you do your thing. And I might pause you along the way and ask a couple questions. But other than that, man, I'll let you take it away.
Absolutely. And after the presentation, we'd love to talk to you all about the opportunity that we have with timeshare. We just want to make sure that you're vacationing right on a budget.
Do you want to live a passive life? Would you like to add an extra $2,000 to $3,000 per month in the next 2 to 6 decades? We have an opportunity for you.
That's actually where I cut my teeth in the world of sales, was selling timeshare. And so it is a dirty place. And if anyone ever has the opportunity to go get your free meal and listen to the presentation, don't do it. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and hop in. And as Cam said, this is a full-on presentation, and it started as literally something that I would scribble on the back of a bar napkin in conversation to show entrepreneurs on a very simplified way to build a business and the various skill sets that you actually need to acquire and the order that we need to acquire them in order to be successful in any venture that we have. And it doesn't matter if you're already established and you're trying to build the empire and make it rain. It doesn't matter if you already have the thing and you're trying to get a side hustle off the ground. These are the same principles no matter what. And so let's go ahead and hop into the thing. And yeah, Cam, feel free to stop me for any clarity. Do you have a good visual? Because I can't see.
Yeah, we can see. And a reminder, guys, to follow along the presentation, head over to X at the Live Rich Project, and you can follow along. We will have these up on YouTube as long as YouTube has us. Sometimes we say probably keywords that they don't like. So if for whatever reason you can never find these videos, head to X. They'll be up there. So make sure you follow the Live Rich Project on YouTube or X.
All right, let's get into it. Welcome to the concept of business periodization. This is something that you find uniquely here because this is not emulated or copied from anywhere. This was built just by looking in the mirror over the last 6 years of everything that we have had to do to build success in very large scale companies and getting small businesses off the ground. So we know that these principles scale and it doesn't matter who you are. So welcome, Business Periodization 101. That implies that there is a 102 and there is a 201, and we will cover those in the future. But these are the $1 million skill sets that you have to learn in order to be successful in any business venture. So what this tackles is the problem of wanting to do the thing, but you're not quite sure what you should be working on to be efficient and, more importantly, to be effective. We're going to cover effective and what that means in a little bit. And so what we need to do is know exactly the list of skills that we have to acquire and we have to sharpen. And it doesn't matter if you're trying to do this online or in person. And so what you see in front of you is the pyramid from which we teach. And I want to point out that the thing at the top is the thing that you love to do. And the reason why it's the thing that you love to do, let me go into a misconception so I can clarify why it is. One of the common tropes out there on motivation social media or business building social media is it's not about passion, it's about obsession. Sure. But one precedes the other. It's just like the people who talk about, motivation is a spark and discipline is the raging inferno. The raging inferno does not start without the spark. And so you will never be truly obsessed with something if you are not passionate about it. And so we lean in hard to your purpose, the thing that you love to do, because if you can lean into what you want to do, you're going to show up there more frequently. You're going to be the best version of yourself. And more importantly, and the thing that it really takes is you're going to be willing to sacrifice things along the way because it's leading you down the path of your higher calling. So from there, you can see the primary skill set that we have to develop is the thing that you love. From there, we have secondary skill sets in this order: sales and then marketing. From there, we get to work on our tertiary skill sets, which the cornerstones are systems and technology. And then the force multiplier is persuasion. And we will do an individual breakdown of all these from kind of a 30,000 foot view just to drive the points home so everyone out there can understand what we're getting at. But first, we need to talk about the why we need to do this thing. And this is something that we've spoken about on the podcast before. You're going to hear us talk about this from now until the end of time, at least me, because it's so very foundational to each and every one of us and our lives and the way that we exist. And so self-determination theory is a basic psychological principle that states that every human out there needs 3 core tenets. We need autonomy, competence, and relatedness. And to the extent that we receive these things, we're going to develop, we're going to function at a high level, we're going to be well, and we're going to live an amazing life. But to any level that these things are withheld, thwarted, or, just skilled in general, you're going to start to experience functional issues through isolation, through mental distress bordering on, mental illness and things like that. And so that's somewhere where we have probably all been, and it's something where we don't want to go back there. And so we have a very clear path for you to follow, so you don't have to experience those things. And so we talked about relatedness, we talked about autonomy, we talked about competence, but let's call a spade a spade. We all need a path to mastery, right? The thing that we love to do, the thing that we are passionate about, that we want to obsess over. It's potentially something that you've found along the way in your journey where you were able to heal yourself, so you can then in turn heal others through this thing. And it doesn't matter if we're talking about playing guitar, it doesn't matter if we're talking about training dogs, it doesn't matter if we're talking about being a baker, right? It is not up to any of us to decide someone else's purpose or their passion or the things that they are to do on this planet. It is just up to us, the individual, to nurture that within each other, and also hopefully to nurture that within one another, right? We need a sense of community. We need to be around people who are just like us, people who understand the things that we're going through, and people who have had success in this field who are like us. So we know that we too can do the thing. And finally, freedom, right? We want the ability to create a life that we want to show up, be a part of, be our best self, share that version of us with the world. And so these are the things that a basic psychological principle states that every human needs. And so that is why we've put this together. And so in that last one, we talked about autonomy, right? Which is freedom. But freedom is different things to different people. And there are a few freedoms that we've identified that we believe that everyone wants to achieve. So let's get into those. The first one's financial freedom. I'm not talking about FU money where, you're driving your Bugatti, down the Autobahn and you're always in Bali or, Bora Bora, living the beach CEO lifestyle. Although if you want that, that's cool. To each their own. Time freedom, the ability to do whatever you want with your time, the ability to say no to things because you don't need to do them. So you can get a little bit more peace and a little bit more focus in a very distracted world. So we can create a life that we want. And finally, your freedom of purpose. How you get to spend every waking minute, the causes that you pour into, your life's work, what you're truly here to build. And we believe that these are three foundational freedoms that every single one of us wants and needs. And so we can hop into it, right? Financial freedom is the thing that comes through mastering your primary skill set, as well as sales and marketing. You're going to create more opportunities for yourself. You're going to be able to change more lives through your goods and services. And you're going to be able to monetize that through those secondary skills of sales and marketing. When we look at time freedom, we have to create systems for ourselves. And these are our daily habits. Could be your morning routine, your night routine, your open of business, close of business, whatever the systems and processes are. These are the things that keep us moving efficiently and, again, effectively. Technology. It's the thing that amplifies our presence and it reduces our manual labor, right? That is the goal of technology, is to make humans' lives simpler and more easy. Sometimes that's to a detriment if we don't utilize it correctly, right? It can make us lazy. It can get us addicted. And so that's why we choose to use it as a tool, so it's not using us as a tool. And then finally, persuasion. These amplify your secondary skill sets of sales and marketing. If you know how to speak better, if you understand how to manipulate the cadence and tonality of which you speak and when to raise your voice and what the power of a whisper actually can be, you can be more persuasive. And these are skills that all can be developed and mastered and are things that you're going to have to reckon with at some point in time when you're trying to grow a business in the modern age. So we've talked about being effective. And why is that important? Because now more than ever, if you look into Twitter and YouTube and all the places, people are seeking, how can I be more productive? I think that's kind of a fool's errand, because being productive just means you're doing stuff. But just because you're doing stuff, it doesn't mean that it's something that's going to advance you, or it doesn't mean it's something you should necessarily be doing in the first place. So we like to give everyone this formula for a lens to look through. To become effective, we are simply being productive. It's something that we are skilled at, right? And so by example, Cam has already driven this point home early on. We're not the most tech savvy people. He far more than I, but I'm very resistant to it, right? It's monotonous to me. It is something that I don't love to deal with. And so the best use of my hour is not trying to figure out how to reformat some document so I can export it to this person over here. The best way for me to be effective is to have conversations with people so I can help them realize the hidden potential within them, because we all have certain gifts and certain passions, and those are the things that we want to be able to lean into a bit more and hopefully be able to outsource or overcome the things that we are not so good at. So let us get into the pyramid. Primary skill set. This is the axe, and you have to sharpen the axe. And by the way, you are the axe. And so this is the thing that you spend your time doing in exchange for the hard-earned dollars of others. And this is why we suggest that you make it something that you already love to do. Because again, if you're someone who's trying to build a side hustle and you already have 6, 8, 10 hours dedicated to building someone else's business for them, it's probably not beneficial to go home and get a second job, again, building someone else's business, or to try to open a side hustle just because it makes money, right? Like, to prioritize short-term gains means you will have long-term losses in the form of stress, in the form of burnout, which will lead to burnout in your primary job that you already have, providing the foundation of your life, right? And so we encourage this to be something that you love, something that you love to do. And again, it doesn't matter who you are or what the thing is. People pay for so many services, so many products out there. And I'm not going to give deranged examples, but I think we're all aware of some of the ridiculous things that people will spend their money on. And so whatever gift you have, whatever the thing is for you, whatever you love to do, don't let the fear of judgment of others diminish your shine, because this is your life. You're building your life's work, and it should be the thing that you love to do. Let's hop in from there into the secondary skill set. Sales, sometimes a dirty word, but it shouldn't be. It's something that, much like religion and politics, we need to have a conversation about this, because a lot of people have misconceptions. We're all consumers. We all love to buy things we hate being sold to. And that's why you need to learn a sales process that is not high pressure, where you're not constantly breathing down someone's neck and trying to overcome every objection like this, because some people are just a little bit gun shy, and we have to be able to nurture them over time. And that's why this is actually the slide that we've created, so you can see that over time, it's the nurturing that makes everything grow. It's not a right now mentality. Sales is simply the process by which we exchange monetary value for a good or service. People give us dollars, we give them the thing, right? And the revenue is the lifeblood of your business, so sales is the heartbeat. So when sales stop, so do the business. And the last thing that I want to drive home is never make a promise that you can't keep. The concept of under promise, over deliver is one that is bastardized at this point. It's overstated, but it's the truth, right? We have to deliver 10x whatever it is that we're promising. And again, this is why you should do a thing that you love, because you're far more resistant to burnout if the product, the good, the service that you're providing is exactly where you want to be in life. And you will work harder and harder to deliver an amazing service. And at that point, you'll create raving fans who bring people to you, which is the goal. When we look at sales, simple sales process is what you need. And so when we take someone through a sales call, we move them through a few different phases, right? And the first one is to build rapport, which is misspelled on this slide, RAPPORT, not sure why. But rapport is quite simply us fostering connection with another person, because you know you're on a sales call, they know they're on a sales call, and we have to let a little bit of the anxiety out of the room, right? And so we give you a simple framework to do so. Family, occupation, recreation, dreams, desires, right? These are focal points for you where we can build that connection and start to build trust with the person who's on the other line. So in the first few minutes of your sales conversation, don't get into the thing. Just talk to another human and start to build the relationship. And if you're not sure how to do it, the Ford framework is an easy way to get through that process. And it should only last a few minutes, right? So from there, we're going to go ahead and give them the overview. Okay, Mrs. Jones, let's go ahead and get into it. I just want to talk a little bit about how this is going to go today. I'm going to ask you some questions so we can really get down to the root of what may be going on, some of the things that you tried in the past to solve the problems, things that did work, that you did like, and more importantly, the things that didn't work and the stuff that you don't want to have to go through again. And after that, when we get through this discussion, if I think we can help you and I feel like it's a good fit, I'd love to be able to talk to you a little bit more about what we do so we can figure out how we can collaborate to help you achieve your goals. Does that sound okay? And they will respond with a yes every single time. And so we have to give them that overview that puts their mind at ease, that we're not just going to present and shove a bunch of stuff down their throat. We then move into the third phase of a sales call, which is called discovery. And this is where we are simply asking a series of questions. And at this point, we're looking for information. You are the detective and you are building your case of clues so you can ultimately present the solution, right? And again, if you're not sure how to do this, if small talk is not your thing and you're not very experienced in the world of sales, remember at this point of the conversation, and this should be most of the call, we want to listen a lot more than we talk. And so it's all about asking questions. And so here's another simple framework. This is a very old framework on sales. ART, acknowledge, reply, transition with a question. Yeah, I hear that. That sounds like a rough go at it. Tell me, what are the things that you think you need right now to be successful, right? And so we're making them feel seen and heard. We're validating their experience, but then we move on to the next question so we can continue to gather information. And then finally, when we believe that we have enough information from this person, that's when we get into the pitch. And at this point, an expert pitch is mostly crafted through callbacks, right? Back to the Ford section, the things that they said were important to them, and storytelling of people who are just like them, who've come through your product, your service, and have come out on the other side a lot better. You remind me of this woman who ... and this is the thing that happened. This is where she's at now. And you remind me so much of that, right? And so this is a very simplified sales framework. It's great for beginners who maybe haven't gone down, the rabbit hole of sales and some of the other finer points, neurolinguistic programming, right? Like the art of the science of decision making and problem solving. And there are things like that, but that's at a higher level. And that's not something that you should start with. You should start with just getting your feet wet by getting experience through this sales process. And because this is a periodized point of view, later on, after you've created all of your foundational systems and sharpened your skills, then start to go back and go deeper into all of these things to make them more effective. But we start with the basics. Then we move to marketing. This is the other secondary skill set. The goal of marketing is quite simple. It's for you and your milkshake to bring all of the boys to the yard, right? Marketing, when we get very reductionist about it, we're just trying to drive desire for the thing that we do. We want to build a line out the door so we can then get people into our sales process so we can convert them into paying clients and customers. When it comes to marketing, the goal of it is to also generate leads, right? Generating attention, getting eyes and ears on you, getting people into your email list, getting people into your social media channels, whatever the case may be. And there are 5 ways to generate leads. And this is something that we typically, I feel like we cover like every 3rd or 4th episode because it's always so relevant. So we have organic marketing. This could be having conversations in your hometown. This is having content-driven conversations online, right? Like we're not putting any physical spend into this. This is from our sweat. We're putting sweat equity into creation, hoping to facilitate eyes, ears, and conversations. From there, we go to affiliate marketing. As Cam already said, he's got an affiliate program that you can join. And if you refer more friends, you're going to make more money and it's going to grow my hair back. But affiliate marketing is simply you're representing someone else's product and you're going to sell that into your audience and you're going to take a cut. And by the way, that street works two ways, right? Then we move into partnerships. And this is something that we always encourage because your network is your net worth. And when we grow our audience, we teach this as growing your influence principally. And there are two ways to do it. We can grow our audience and we can grow our network. And so when you grow your audience, it's a slower process. It's a little bit more demanding. And it's like opening windows for you to, slide in. But when you grow your network and your partnerships, remember, they're growing their audience too. They're building trust too. They're engaging with people too. And that's like opening a door, right? When someone can open a door and you can walk into the room and then you can deliver to those people, that's exactly what we're looking for. And this goes beyond partnerships for making money. This could be things like, hey, I've got a great tax guy for you. It can be things like, hey, I heard you need a VA. My VA is amazing, right? And so we want to build these partnership relationships at all times. You should always be working on this. And then we have cold outreach. This could be cold DMs. It can be, if you're an agency owner, cold email is a great way to facilitate conversations with already established businesses. So you can send them your portfolio of recent work so they can determine if it's worth it or not to have a conversation with you. And finally, we get to paid traffic. And so paid traffic in the form of boosted posts, in the form of, various ads, be it Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Google ads, whatever the case may be, but you're going to put a little bit of spin behind this. Now, the beautiful thing is, as the industries have evolved over the past several years and more people are pumping ad spend, more and more people are mastering Facebook ads, you can test more with less. You have to, the upfront investment, the barrier to entry is far lower. For years, we told people, if you don't have $5,000 a month to burn for 90 days to test your ads, it's not a time for you to go into paid traffic. But as everything evolves, as the market becomes more sophisticated, the cost of this technology has gone down. And so paid traffic is also a great way to get a boost and a head start on getting yourself out there. So marketing builds a desire for your goods and services. And the way to do this is by documenting the process of what you've done personally, how you overcame something, and how you've helped other people overcome things. That's why we tell real stories. They're far more compelling than made up nonsense, right? From there, understand what the wins are that you can share. And it's not typically just the end result, right? Along the path of weight loss is those quick wins. It's less inflammation in the body. It's less pain in the joints. It's less bloating. You feel more active. You have more endurance. More confidence shows up. And these are wins that we can document and share with our audience all along the way that will then speak to people just like that in the audience because they're aware of those shortcomings within themselves. Also, as much as many of the gurus poo-poo the concept of being motivational and inspirational, if you're a coach, a consultant, or something like that, I'm going to challenge that notion because, again, the people that you're talking to, they haven't built that discipline yet. And that burning inferno of discipline always starts with the spark of motivation. Be that for them because they don't have that for themselves. And also share personal content. We will tell you over and over the things that are the highest performing content are your personal experiences. And I mean, like you on a beach enjoying vacation. People love to see that and they're going to support it. This is things like memes. Memes are hilarious. If you love dogs, share your dog. My wife put up our dog and it got like 67 comments in an hour because everyone loves to love dogs. Well, everyone who's a good person loves to love dogs. Some of you cat people out. We won't go down that road. Anyways, but sharing the personal content shows that you're a human just like them. And people follow people, right? You can look at the businesses and then you can look at whoever the attractive character, the face of the businesses, they always have more followers because people buy people more than they buy products. Finally, be the researcher and the reporter. Go find the data that's relevant. right? And share that. Then share that with your audience. And these are all great things, especially when you're not sure what you should put out for content. And so leaving this, none of you at this point should now wonder, what are the things I should be putting up on social media? And we want to put these things up a lot more than we put up our offers, because we all know that when we put up the post that says I'm starting a business, you don't get as many likes. Or, hey, I'm looking for 5 people who need to lose 20 pounds in the next month. You don't get as many likes because people don't want to self-identify with that anyways. They don't want to admit that they have that problem because they have fear of judgment, and they don't want you reaching out trying to peddle your stuff down their throat. So we have to do this in a very calculated manner. And that is why we give the wide variety that we do of the things that you should be putting out there in the first place. So this is the second formula inside of this training. When you create a system that works in unison to exchange your goods and services for their hard-earned money, and you have a line out the door to do so, that's how you get financial freedom. We take this thing up here that we love to do, and we learn how to sell it, and then we learn how to drive desire and align to step into our sales process to get back up to the thing that we love to do. And this is how you create financial freedom. You fill your books by exchanging your time in exchange for their money, right? But as we do this, there's no balance. You've lost one of the freedoms. It's time to get it back. So now we move down to our tertiary skill sets, the bottom of the pyramid. So one of the cornerstones are systems. And when we think about systems, they're just sets of different processes that work within each other to create efficiency in the day-to-day operations. It's true in your business. It's true in your personal life, right? Everyone's probably read Atomic Habits or at least heard of it. James Clear is, if you haven't read or listened to it, please do. But he breaks it down into the systems, the system of habit creation and the things that go into it. And so even our habits that govern our day-to-day existence are all foundational systems. And so that is why understanding system creation, starting to master that skill, is so very important. And if you have great systems, you don't have to be working on the business all the time in order for it to work. These are the things that keep the business moving in your sleep. And they also prevent opportunity costs. And the example of opportunity costs that I frequently give, because it's very easy to understand. If you onboard clients and it takes you 30 minutes to manually onboard a client versus it would take you an hour to go record your process and go set up the systems that would make that automated. So we have an hour here and 30 minutes here. That means as soon as we manually onboard 2 clients, we're even money on the time. But as soon as you have to manually onboard that third client, it costs you 30 minutes. But it really cost you an hour, because that 30 minutes that you had to spend could have been spent doing anything else, resting, taking a sales call, enjoying time with the family, whatever the case may be. And so this is what we call opportunity cost. And systems prevents this from happening. When we think of a system, we think it has an upfront investment of our time, our energy, our effort, and sometimes financial. The easiest systems for you to automate right away are your content creation by putting together your own personal system of batching, whether that's batching all of the video, batching all of the editing, batching all of the writing for your captions or whatever the case may be. But if you're willing to block out those 2 hours and do deep work, it's a lot better than 15 minutes here, 15 minutes there, where you're distracted and you can't really get into that focused state of mind. Other things that we can do are welcome processes, our onboarding processes, our check-in processes. If you are a service provider, these typically aren't as applicable to people who sell products. Some of them are, but these are easy systems that you can invest some time and energy in to begin to win back time later on. That brings us to the other foundational cornerstone, technology, the bane of my existence. But it is evolving faster than ever, right? Especially with the advent of AI and the way things are going. We have to keep up. If you do not keep up with technology or have people in your employ or network who keep up with technology, you will eventually become irrelevant. This is true across all of history, right? Time is undefeated, so we have to adapt to it. And if we leverage technology, it's something that amplifies your presence. If we have technology that does our podcast editing, if we have technology that helps assist with content creation, if we have technology through the form of funnels and autoresponders and things like that, you can make a sale to someone at 2 o'clock in the morning your time while it's on the other side of the world, and they can come into your program. But if you haven't invested that time to leverage technology, you have to be awake every single waking moment whenever you're going to work and make money. And we don't want that, because that leads to more burnout. And the goal is to get your time back. Very basic things, right? Leveraging things like Zoom, Loom, Stripe, Google Suite, G Suite. And eventually, when you need a CRM or email platforms, you begin to look into those things. And those pieces of technology help us create the systems that, again, get all of our time back. Then we move into persuasion. Persuasion it's just as much of an art as it is a skill. Whenever we see a captivating speaker, we see the best version of ourselves, what is possible in our life reflected in their words. And that is an art form. Sure, some people have the blessing with the gift for gab and they're linguistically gifted, but I promise you, it is a sharpened skill for every one of them. It doesn't matter if we're talking about a Tony Robbins. It doesn't matter if we're talking about an Andy Frisella and Oprah Winfrey. Whoever your person is, they have a lot of practice, and it's deliberate practice at getting better. And when we have the ability to persuade, we have the ability to get others to take action. It also will help with client retention. It helps you in fostering trust and connection, which is the bedrock of all client relationships. And there are certain things that we should be paying attention to when we're looking to be more persuasive. The foundational skill is copywriting. If you can write well, you can speak well. And if you have a jumbled, messy mind and blocking out some time to write, it will help clear your mind. But writing is an art form that's not going to go away. AI cannot elicit an emotional response nearly as well as humans. And there's plenty of data to back that up, and we cover it on the show. Things like public speaking, understanding behavior change, or, a shallow dive is motivational interviewing. The ability to ask questions to get people to come to their own epiphany, right? Because you can lead the horse to water. You can't make them drink. You can give them a salt cube and they'll get really thirsty. But we can't just instruct someone and then they get it, right? Like life-changing moment. No, we need them to arrive to that conclusion on their own behalf. We need them to make that discovery for themselves. And the way that we do that is through asking questions. Now, when we built our financial freedom, we lost our time freedom. And so now that we understand by implementing technology, systems, persuasion, we get far more done in less time. Our persuasion makes our sales far more persuasive. Our persuasion makes our marketing far more effective. And so if you have 10 scheduled sales calls and you close 30%, but if you're better at sales, you're more persuasive, you might close at 60%. And so you're literally hitting double for every at bat. That's going to lead to a lot more revenue generation inside of the business. If your marketing message is far more clear and far more effective, and you can articulate what it is that you do and the value that you add through the problems that you solve to the audience, they're far more likely to listen. They're more likely to follow. They're more likely to engage and eventually show up to find out what it is that you do. And this is how we get our time freedom back. So we talked about this thing. And this is the thing that we always come back to, because I believe that there's not a single one of us out there who can't take the thing that we love, our calling, our higher calling, our purpose, and create that for ourselves. And the beautiful thing is that through the advent of this pyramid and the way that you pursue these things, when you begin to wrap them all up, you have financial freedom. You've created time freedom. And because of that, you have freedom of purpose. You get to decide on a regular basis. what it is that I'm going to do with my time and my life. And for some people at a point in their journey, their purpose is centered around a physical journey. Maybe they need to lose weight. Maybe they want to gain muscle. And so that purpose is getting up. It's the eating of the healthy food, or the meal prep, or the 10,000 steps a day, or the 5 sessions in the gym, right? Like, it's the thing that drives us. But that's only a phase of life for a lot of people. And so purpose is something that's fluid. And as you have time freedom and you create financial freedom for yourself, it's your decision to make. What are you going to do? What are you going to build with your life? And this is the gift that we give to everyone out there. The ability to create freedom wherever you're at, and to be able to do whatever it is that you're truly called to do. And so that's why here at the Live Rich Project, we have a mission. It's to help every citizen within this project create freedom in their life to whatever degree. If you want to just contribute to your own household, if you're trying to get the side hustle off the ground to make it your main thing, that was me. If you're trying to build the empire, that's also me. We want to help you do it. And we have the skills because we know how. And this is our gift to share with the world. And it is a place of reputation, innovation, contribution, and harmony. And this is Business Periodization 101. Welcome to the Live Rich Project.
Mighty fine TED Talk, sir. You're on a roll there.
Why, thank you. Thank you.
Just need to get you out there, with Mr. Ted himself. I believe that's who started, right? His name was Ted.
I think so. And then it turned into TEDx, which is just, the monetized, watered down version of it. But that's also why I said the most effective use of my time is things like this, because it's what I enjoy doing and it's what
Absolutely.
I'm kind of good at.
So guys,
anything that needs to be clarified before we move on? Is there anything that I missed, or anything that we need to just dig a little deeper on, or do you think this was good for him?
No, I think this is a great overview as far as some of the different things that we're trying to come across, because you nor I want to just be a parrot of everything else that's already out there. Nor would we spend this amount of time trying to build stuff and do a podcast. If that were the case, we would just, make a conspiracy theory podcast and have a bunch of fun and talk about some crazy stuff, if that were the whole point. Yeah. But I think this was a great overview because it shows, based on the pyramid, how you can actually facilitate business periodization and start to utilize it. Now, 102 will actually get into seasons and the breakdown of like what that looks like and how you go ups and downs. But this is the foundational stuff that you have to be able to do to put together to even get to that point, because everyone wants to start sprinting before they can even crawl, right? And so you have to be able to master these things. And I think you and I at different times have tried to do pieces of this, right? Just on our own, doing different things. And back, when we used to have side hustles and try to build our own coaching businesses, you were doing fitness and nutrition. I was doing fitness and boot camps and things like that. And you tried to do pieces of it. And until you actually put them together and understand that it's a structure that will get you through it, you just kind of are spinning in circles over and over. And just when you get good at sales, then you're like, well, I don't have anyone now to get on the phone. So you're like, oh, I got to be good at marketing. And then you finally figure out like, oh, if I actually learn tech, I can leverage both of those things and actually do more with less time, right? So they all work together. And I think once that clicks for everybody, if you're listening, go watch the video on X or YouTube. Once that clicks for you, you're going to start unlocking so many opportunities. Like, even if you kind of understand like, oh, I know I need to be good at sales and marketing. It all still starts though from the tip of the spear that we call it, or the top of the pyramid, which is your thing. So if you're selling products, great. Just make sure they're great products, because if they suck, it's going to come back to you eventually. You may find initial financial success. It's going to come back to you. If you have a service, you should be doubling, tripling, quadrupling down on your service and making sure it's absolutely impeccable. Because if not, again, 30, 60, 90 days, 6 months from now, a year from now, it's going to come back, and then you're not going to have the referrals, and you're going to wonder why. And then people will be like, well, like it was okay for a few months, but then, just really wasn't what I thought, or I didn't get the result that, we had promised. So I thought it was overall pretty good, man.
Thank you. Word of mouth works 2 ways, is what he's saying, for better and for worse. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. And I notice we're also in the sweet spot for podcast length of time to get the most viewership.
Well, we'll see what the numbers say.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So if you have questions, concerns, comments, compliments, just let us know via X or Instagram. Also, Michael did mention Live Rich Project. We are opening the waiting list. We officially kick off in like 2 weeks. 2 weeks from now, something like that, I believe. Yeah, 2 weeks from now. So if you actually want to jump on the waiting list and be alerted for that and grab one of the initial spots, DM Michael on Instagram, Michael_connects, and he'll send you over the information. You can go ahead and hop on the waiting list and then follow up with any details and information from there. Anything you want to close out with, man, or anything to add further context?
It doesn't get easier because you're going up. It's the climb, and the climb is the most rewarding part, but you're always moving up. And so even as you're going up levels, it doesn't get easier, but the view gets a lot better. I promise you.
I just want to point out, I believe that was a Miley Cyrus song, so I'm not sure if you just quoted her or not with It's the Climb. Why I oughta. All right, guys, That's it for this edition of Run the Block. Let us know if you have questions. Hit us on Instagram or X. Watch the video. Let us know if you have questions, and we'll see you next time.
Get to work.